The Warriors just made a trade that's pretty confusing. I love it for the Wizards. You get Jordan Poole, some draft capital from the Warriors, but the Warriors get a 38-year-old Chris Paul. And I guess this is like a money thing because Poole has more long-term money on the books, but like giving up picks to get a 38-year-old Chris Paul is crazy. But we're going to see how both of these teams fill out their rosters in the offseason. The Wizards really didn't do anything. They did add Mavs legend Reggie Bullock, but for the Warriors, they brought back Draymond, who got worse. I mean, that's kind of the moral of the story for this Warriors team. Everybody's old and regressing, and then you've got Kevon Looney, who's always improving, man. And the Warriors picked up Andre Drummond, so we'll see what they can do this season. Chris Paul, of course, is named to the All-Star team. Y'all really thought? No. Steph Curry does make the All-Star team. He's coming off the bench for the Golden State Warriors. At the All-Star break, though, the Warriors are the second seed, 32-21, and the Wizards are 15-38. So not a good first year for the Wizards, but you know what would be good? If you subscribe to the channel. I know, I'm begging for subscribers again. I'm back at it. Chris Paul, 6th man of the year. He looks really small in this picture. Chris Paul, more like Chris Small. Got him! Anyway, bro, let's go ahead and let's get to the postseason. I did leave injuries on, which I don't really like, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the injuries. Because let's be honest, if injuries were on, Chris Paul would probably get hurt. He gets injured almost every year in real life in the NBA playoffs. But we've got those off, so we'll be good to go. The Warriors are in here as the 3 seed. We will check out the season stats for Washington, though, to see how they did. I mean, 27-55 on the season is pretty rough, but, you know, it's a transition year. They'll make it back. They'll get a good pick in the draft and stuff and build from there. But the Warriors had a really good season. Chris Paul, 15 points per game. They drafted Keontae George, who came in and made an immediate impact, averaging 11 points per game. Kevon Looney grabbed some rebounds. And it looks like the Warriors actually traded for Mitchell Robinson. And Draymond's numbers, oh my goodness, they're rough. But we'll check out that Mitchell Robinson trade in a second. Anyways, looking at the Wizards, it's Jordan Poole. The baddies were in Washington. He was out there going crazy. But yeah, let's check out the transaction report to see what happened for the Warriors. They traded Andre Drummond. Come on now. I mean, they got a first too, so not a bad trade for the Warriors. Got to get back the pick that they traded from that Chris Paul move. I can't believe they gave up picks to get Chris Paul. It was like a top 20 protected pick, but still, it's Chris Paul. The man is 38. We've got the Oklahoma City Thunder here in the first round, and after taking a 2-0 lead, we lose the next 2 games. Let's see if Game 5 is better for Golden State. Yeah, it is much better. They're going to go ahead and win by 34 points, 31-10 from Steph Curry, and a signature playoff Chris Paul game. A little rough one, 5 for 13 shooting. The playoffs aren't even over, and Chris Paul already wants to retire. The field goal percentage is way down. Come on, Chris, lock in for this one playoff run, get an NBA championship, and we'll go from there, all right? I will override Chris Paul's retirement so he comes back another year, but we're headed to a Game 7 here. Chris Paul had a really solid Game 6. Steph Curry had triple-double, but wow, the efficiency absolutely sucked. We got a Game 7 here, though, and the Golden State Warriors are going to take it home, winning by 11 points. Klay Thompson with 24. Steph with another kind of mid-game. Chris Paul actually outscored him in this Game 7. Overall, though, his numbers for the first round were solid. Curry's were. And Draymond Green, oh my goodness. That's rough, man. That's really rough. We've got the Los Angeles Lakers in the second round. They beat the second seed just like they did in real life this season to go ahead and advance to the second round. And now we've got another Warriors-Lakers matchup 2 years in a row. It's tied up at 2 apiece. Can we take this pivotal Game 5? Or are the Lakers going to knock Steph Curry and Golden State out of the playoffs once again? Well, in Game 5, Golden State came to play. It was Steph Curry with 19, Klay Thompson with 26, Wiggins with 21, even Draymond with a rare double-figure scoring game because for him, man, he was averaging, like 3 a game in the playoffs? When we checked earlier, Bron had 21 points and a triple-double as we head to a game number 6. And the Lakers are going to bounce back a 19-point dub. And Chris Paul, man, come on, Chris. Christopher, where are you, man? I don't even see you on the stat sheet. That is a rough game for Chris Paul for sure. Not a ton of scoring for him as we head into Game 7. It was close in the fourth quarter, but not close enough for me to hop in as the Los Angeles Lakers are able to take it away in the final minutes, ending the Warriors season once again in the second round, just like in real life over this past season. Chris Paul with 11 and 12. It was an all right playoff run for him, and LeBron James with a triple-double to finish off Steph Curry and the Warriors. They actually went on to face Denver once again, and Denver is back in the finals, but of course, they lose to the great Atlanta Hawks. LeBron James and Chris Paul want to call it quits. I'll let LeBron retire because he was cooking us over this past year. But yeah, CP3, you are coming back for another season because we're not just doing a one-season simulation. What did Vince Carter say? I got one more in me. Yeah, Chris, you're coming back for another year. We're going to bring him back on a new deal. He wants quite a bit of money. I'll bump it down a little bit there. But I do want him coming back to the team, so I'll give him that contract, one-year deal. And it wants me to renounce the rights of Clay and Draymond. I'm pretty much just going to let the CPU control everything, but I don't think that the Warriors would let go of Clay or Draymond, so I will have the CPU try to re-sign them. The only thing I'm really controlling, though, is Chris Paul staying on the roster, and ultimately Klay Thompson actually ended up leaving the team. Draymond's still here. He's just really old. He's 34 years old, 76 overall. This team is cooked, man. Chris Paul is an 81 overall. He's 39. Steph's getting old. It's rough. But the Wizards, they picked up Jaden McDaniels, a cool, defensive wing player to play alongside Jordan Poole. They have a 19-year-old rookie who's a 79. They got some stuff going on. And look, Jeffrey Townsend, he's playing for the Washington Wizards. He won the Rookie of the Year. Look at that. Things are really looking up for the Washington Wizards. They've worked some magic in their rebuild. You see what I did there? Ah ha ha, a real knee slapper. Let's go ahead and let's get to it, though. NBA playoffs. Can the Washington Wizards make it in? We'll have to see. And they actually made it. So did the Golden State Warriors. The Wizards are the 6th seed. 39 wins is good enough for a playoff spot, which is crazy. They, I guess, had the tiebreaker over the Celtics, who were tied with them record. How are the Celtics in the play-in tournament? Lots of things going on. But the Wizards, a really good season, as Jaden McDaniels proved to be a huge pickup for their team, putting up some great numbers. And for the Warriors, it's the young guys really starting to hoop. You got Keontae George and Jonathan Kuminga putting up big numbers. Chris Paul with a pretty good season, considering he is 39 years old. So overall, the Warriors have exceeded my expectations. They have made the playoffs both seasons, which isn't too big of a surprise, but they've been top seeds. They were close to the conference finals this past season. I mean, I think the Chris Paul trade could go really wrong for Golden State. We'll have to see how it goes in real life. But we've got Lakers-Warriors, a rematch. Bron did retire, but they picked up Sabonis, and they picked up Clay, who, remember, he was on the Warriors for his whole career before that. And then we've got the Wizards and Nets, and look who it is. It's Bradley Beal. He's with the Brooklyn Nets, which is kind of crazy. But let's go ahead and let's simulate these series. The Wizards are cooking out east. They go ahead and gentlemen sweep the Nets, and the Warriors gentlemen sweep the Lakers. Okay, things are really getting going, but Bradley Beal, what happened? He was just getting passed around more than the ball. He went from Phoenix to Toronto, then from Toronto to Brooklyn. He doesn't even pack his bags when he gets traded. At this point, he's ready to go. He knows the drill. The bags are already packed. He just got to his newest destination. But the Wizards, they're going to move on to face the Philadelphia 76ers in the second round, while the Golden State Warriors are going to be facing up against the Dallas Mavericks, who picked up Nikola Vucevic to run the 5. Let's go ahead and let's get into these series. Early on, the Wizards are getting cooked, while the Warriors, they're in a competitive series with the Dallas Mavericks. So the Wizards get swept as the Warriors head to a Game 5. In this big Game 5, the Warriors aren't able to pull it out. They lose to the Dallas Mavericks, and Chris Paul and Curry had 19 each, but that's not going to be enough. Keontae George also had 19. I guess that was the magic number. Shout out to the Wizards. You see what I did there? Ah, ha, ha. All right, I did that little ha-ha laugh too many times, bro. It wasn't funny the first time. It's not going to be funny the second time. But Luka Doncic, he had kind of a rough game. I mean, it was a triple-double game, but still kind of rough efficiency. We're headed to a Game 7 here, though. We were able to take the Game 6, and in Game 7, our veteran experience was huge. Steph Curry, 33 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. You have Patrick Baldwin, Jonathan Kuminga, the young guys really stepping up in a big game. And for the Mavericks, they had their young guys, Jett Howard and Jaden Hardy, who really came to play. But Luka Doncic, a really rough game in this one as he goes ahead and loses, and the Warriors are moving on to the conference finals. I do want to see what the Washington Wizards did, though, in the NBA playoffs. I want to check out some of the stats before we get into this conference finals. And it was Jaden McDaniels and Jordan Poole leading the way for them. They have a really interesting young core that they've been able to build in this video. We'll see if those guys can continue to develop. Now the Warriors are facing the Houston Rockets, a good young team, but we'll see if the Warriors' veteran experience prevails again. It's not prevailing, not at all. It was a sweep. The Warriors go ahead and lose. James Harden versus former team, the Rockets, and he goes ahead and wins and gets an NBA championship. I know CP3 is sick seeing James Harden get a ring before him, but Chris Paul's about to call it quits and retire. We will follow these teams for a couple more seasons to see if Washington will do anything and just to see what the Golden State Warriors' future looks like, because they made a move trading away a young guy in Jordan Poole. Guys like Steph Curry, Draymond, Clay are all getting old for them, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in real life, but we'll see what 2K predicts will happen. Okay, 2K says they'll sign an old Kawhi Leonard. All right, man. Hopefully Kevon Looney can hold it down this season because it's not looking good. I mean, the Warriors' core guys are gone. Draymond's not here. Clay's not here anymore. Steph Curry is like the lone guy from the Warriors' initial big three, but he's still holding it down at a 93 overall. And for the Wizards player progression, you just see green arrows. Guys are getting better and better and just improving. So good to see for the Washington Wizards. Anthony Edwards is the MVP of the league for this season. A really good stat line for him. He was out there hooping. Jalen Duren wins Sixth Man of the Year. I feel like I see him do that quite often. If you're doing rebuilds, I feel like Jalen Duren is a pretty good guy to pick up. He usually scores quite a bit. Jaden McDaniels makes the all-defensive team for the Washington Wizards. Good stuff for him. And the Wizards, unfortunately, don't end up making it into at least a 7 or 8 play-in spot. We'll see if they make it into 9 or 10 because they had an okay record. We'll check on that, though. And Jaden McDaniels leads the way in scoring. He's really getting buckets. Yeah, it's just the same guys from their young core kind of hooping, and they've made some additions to the squad. Team looks good. And the Warriors, they brought back Golden State legend James Wiseman to save the day. And the Wizards are going to lose in the play-in. Like I said, I thought they might be in there. They were in there as a 10 seed, but they go ahead and go down to the New York Knicks. The Golden State Warriors still in the mix, though. 4 seed facing up against the 5-seeded Denver Nuggets. They have Nikola Jokic, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, but they did end up losing Jamal Murray. But it looks like that isn't mattering so far. We do have a 2-2 series, but then the Nuggets go ahead and take the next 2, meaning the Warriors season is over. Checking out the playoff stats for the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, the old man, does everything he can to carry his team, but it's not enough. James Wiseman, he tried to help, but it wasn't enough. The Warriors made some huge offseason moves, though, picking up Bam Adebayo and Paolo Banchero. I was considering ending the video, but we'll go one more season to see what Steph Curry can do with Paolo and Bam. I don't even know how they picked up Paolo so early in the sim. I feel like he should be a restricted free agent, but I guess the Magic let him go or something because now he is a Golden State Warrior making all NBA teams. We got to see if the Warriors can make some noise, and we'll also see if the Washington Wizards can do anything, at least get in the playoffs. They're here. They're the 3rd seed. 44-38 is good enough for the 3rd seed, which is crazy. And the Warriors, meanwhile, won more games than the Wizards and are in the play-in tournament. Checking out the season stats for the Wizards, they picked up Kuminga on a minimum deal. Warriors legend is reunited with Jordan Poole. They're playing alongside each other once again. And now they've got 4 guys who are averaging almost 18 points per game or more. So a lot of scoring from, I guess they're like big 4, maybe like you could call it a mid 4. No disrespect, they would give me a bucket, but maybe you'd call it a mid 4. Paolo was leading the way in terms of scoring for the Warriors, but Steph Curry and Keontae George weren't too far behind. James Wiseman came back on another minimum deal. He said, I'm back. He's here to make things right in Golden State. He didn't like how the first tenure went, and he's just hooping with the Warriors. The Warriors were in the play-in, though, which is crazy. I know I said that earlier, but they have a pretty good squad to be making the play-in. The Washington Wizards are the 3 seed facing up against the Charlotte Hornets. Game number 1 is going to go to Charlotte, while out west, the Golden State Warriors are up 1-0. The Hornets are beating the Wizards, and the Mavericks are beating the Warriors. Okay, both series are pretty close here, and the Wizards are going to lose while the Warriors season is still alive, but not for long. They go ahead and lose in 6. So it looks like the Chris Paul trade wasn't good for Golden State. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it right now. But if you want to see the playoff stats, here they are. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.